next step is organizing the group. You need to find a farmer, a site, and the distribution. You need to discuss the responsibilities and the budget, the fees and the payments. There are so many options when it comes to fees and payments. Okay? You have some areas like here in the deep south where we could say we have a 30 or 40 week long growing season, and you sign up for the CSA for that entire 30, 40 week area. However, a lot of farms like to do separate CSAs or separate shares, if you will, where maybe there's a spring share and you sign up for the first 10 weeks of spring, so you know you're going to get all those leafy greens and the kales and lettuces and broccolis and things like that that we can grow early in the spring or that we're growing over winter, and then a smaller, in terms of weeks, a less time frame for the summer, which does some benefits to it because it's going to lower the cost for each of those groups and you can pick and choose. Some places like here where there's colleges in town, some CSAs will do a college share, so you know how many weeks the college students are going to be in town, and so you only charge them for the amount of weeks they're actually going to be in town. You can do full shares and half shares because I have 5 children and 2 adults in my home. I need a big share. Some other people that want the share, if that were the standard share, other people are going to end up with too much produce. And so you might have half shares, or even have half shares just because maybe there's an elderly widow that wants to be a part of the CSA and she doesn't need enough food to feed 2 people and a child or something like that, okay? So there's a lot of different options. Payments are typically, remember we spoke before about the bank having to give a loan to the farmer up front for all of his initial costs. Typically in a CSA, the farmer is asking for the support of the members up front. Okay? That's probably the most distinct and different thing about a CSA, is that we're saying, okay, we've had our meetings, we understand how much food you expect to get, we understand what kind of vegetables, fruits, and herbs you may or may not get. It's not part of this presentation, but you can have CSAs with milk shares and egg shares and flour shares and all this kind of stuff too. There's so many options on the table. But we understand those options at this point, and so now, here we are, let's say in January, we're getting ready to put everything in the ground. I need the money now so that I can get everything planted, and then week to week, whatever day we've already discussed on, that's when you're going to get your vegetables at this time, at this location, and so on. So you pay a one-time fee up front, so the farmer has the capital he needs to run the business throughout the rest of the year, and then you get your vegetables and fruits and so forth on a prescribed schedule. Some places understand that might not be economically viable to all people, and so they require a weekly payment, or they require a payment every month. So there's options that are with this. It's not like you can't call this a CSA if you require them to pay monthly. There's options, but traditionally the point is to support that farmer up front so they don't have to incur the capital expenses. What are the expectations and the guidelines? These are just things we've already talked about. Things like whether you are expected to provide some time, whether you're expected to help deliver or anything like that. Our core group is Go Green Meridian and the farmer. This is our biggest missing hole. We're looking to talk to you and ask you to help us find a farmer. We have a lot of people here locally that are experienced in horticulture, people like myself who have small hobby farms to support their own families, but we have not yet found somebody who says, I'm willing to do this as employment and run the CSA. That's what we're looking for right now. But we need somebody who has the time, the experience, and the dedication to be a part of this. There's a lot of options available here. It doesn't have to be somebody who's farmed for the last 20 years and has all the experience under their belt. There are plenty of CSAs around Mississippi who have internship programs and that I've spoke with, like Sam I mentioned before. I know Allie downstairs with Beaver Dam Farms runs an internship program. So it's just a matter of knowing who wants to be a part of it and then reaching out to these other CSAs and saying, hey, we have someone who's interested in being an intern. Do you have room available? And then you get your experience by actually working at a CSA before coming and starting ours. Okay, we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Okay, so the next big step is the land.